You straight up cuckooed that dude, bro. Oh my God.
You've got all your Charger gear on because
I look good. I got big energy every day. Let's go!
And he is dead.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
That's right.
You have to love what you're seeing on tape if you're a Chargers fan, especially for the future with Justin
Herbert on the move and throws and touchdown.
Good ball, Herb.
Players, coaches, staff, fans, together we can create something truly special.
Stay tuned for some good content.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, Wolldog, sitting with my brothers, Kev, Hug, and Duggin.
Hey, Wolldog. Hey, Kai Man.
And Kyle, the coach, Duggin.
What's up, guys?
All right, another week. We're back. And, I mean, you know, there's stuff to talk about. You know, don't get too scared too quick. We've got stuff to talk about. You know, there's some news, there's some rumors, everything is flying around, and obviously you folks in Ask Twitter are always very vocal, so we've got plenty to talk about there. Interviews out the wazoo, but before we get into anything, I need to mention it came out recently that Justin Herbert had partnered with a company by the name of Strive that provides a beef biltong. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Sounds hot.
It sounds, yeah. It sounds.
This is
like
episode 69. What are you really eating over there?
spicy. All right. Yeah. It sounds more like a surfboard company than anything. Dude, you got your biltong? Oh yeah, bro. So he partnered with Strive, and I am a fan of beef products. As we all know, I'm thirsty for the Derwin James, and I had to pick myself up a variety pack. So it's biltong. It looks like jerky. It's not necessarily jerky. It goes through a different process. So throughout the episode, I'm not going to totally, derail it, but I'm going to take myself a little piece of one of these flavors. And this first one is original. And I can tell you right now that it is very dry, which isn't a bad thing, but let me see. It's got some good flavor.
Chip? Is it like a chip?
No,
a
not
chip.
It's still chewy. It's still chewy. It just doesn't like.
Oh my God, this has turned into a food podcast.
I like it.
Let's just get it out of the way.
Yeah.
It's not quite like a jerky. Like a jerky's got more kind of like a sauciness to it. Almost like a glaze. This is not a glaze. This is just dry meat that's flavored. And it tastes a little bit of mustard in there, a little bit of ketchup kind of flavory.
Gross.
It's not bad, dude.
Awful, dude.
Well,
That's just not the best description. I don't want to eat
I'm
that.
sorry. Well, that's the original flavor. That's what you get from
I'm
me.
not saying you're
all right.
not describing
Maybe there's
it
like
the
a
way that it
teriyaki
tastes,
or something
but it
in
doesn't
the
sound
sandwich.
great.
Next will be teriyaki, but
Okay.
this isn't all going to be about Strive biltong.
I'm listening to Adam eat.
I will just interject intermittently throughout the podcast. Let's see. As far as some team news, there was a tweet that came out that made me look at Tom Telesco a little bit differently than I have in the past. We talk about Tom Telesco and we judge him occasionally when it comes to draft picks. But the other thing to take into consideration is how well the guy handles the money side of it. And Gilbert Manzano tweeted out that the Chargers have only $58,000 in dead money for 2021, and they are the only team under six figures as of today. That's pretty impressive when it comes to handling the amount of talent that we have on this team. And, just signing, Bosa and Keenan and Austin this last season to these big contracts, to know that there's only $58,000 in dead money. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of impressed with that. What do you guys think?
Yeah. So dead money, I looked up the definition. Dead money, simply put, is the salary cap space a team must allocate.
You're watching him eat. You're thinking about calories. Sorry,
yeah, calories capes. Salary cap space a team must allocate to a particular player who has been cut. So these are guys that you're paying that aren't on your team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still hitting the salary cap, but they're not even on your squad.
Right.
And obviously, in a year like now, that's being looked at a whole lot more because every dollar is now more valuable.
Exactly.
So yeah, it says two things. I think one, that's great. Like, I'm excited. That says that we have more cap right now. But it also says we might not be cutting guys that need to get cut. Exactly. We have the least dead money in all of the NFL. we're just like, that was a shitty contract, but we're just going to eat it and hold on to
Gonna
it
ride
and not let
this
the guy
out.
go. Yeah, we're going to ride this storm out and see how it goes.
Right. We're not like the Eagles right now who traded Carson Wentz. I know that they're eating a ton of dead money. And what was the other big trade? The Stafford and Goff deal. I know those teams are probably eating some dead money as well. So just, blessed more than anything else that we haven't had a situation of losing somebody like a Joey Bosa and trading him to another team and eating whatever's left on his contract. Like, we don't have to deal with that. So I find that really impressive. By the way, teriyaki, very delicious. Awesome. tastes just like teriyaki. It's actually quite good. As far as reading into things that probably don't have a lot to be read into, but we got nothing else to talk about, so we got to read into it. There was some Charger players that were working out recently, and you would expect them to work out together because they're teammates. You've got Keenan Allen, you've got Derwin James, and Hunter Henry. But there was another familiar face that was working out with these guys that kind of piqued some eyebrows because he was a Charger player at one point. He's not anymore. I believe he's a free agent this year, and I'm talking about none other than Jason Verrett, cornerback, most recently for the San Francisco 49ers, but he was originally drafted and played for the Chargers, but man, the guy just couldn't stay healthy to save his life.
No.
And he had some great flashes when he was.
We had 1 year at Pro Bowler that he was a stud.
He was just
he was shut down, but yeah, he was hurt again this year to start the whole year. I think he missed 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's cool to see them, like the fact that they're friends still and they're working out together. But it's just so crazy this time of year. Everyone is looking for any kind of information that could possibly, like, literally, we need it. We need something to talk about. We need something to get excited about. And somebody posted this and was like, you know what? Maybe he's coming back. Like, dude, there's so many things going on. And I don't think, Verrett coming back is probably the best thing for our secondary. If we're talking about dead money, might be some dead money if you bring him back.
Oh, bold take, Kevin.
Just saying. You got to cut people when they can't play. They can't make the field. They can't play. He was an amazing player. He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah. I would like, I don't know. I feel like there's more surefire hits that are available out there, but I mean, I wouldn't totally be disappointed if he came back.
There's hope. We're Charger fans, so we'll always have hope that not this year. He won't be hurt.
There's just so many other things we could spend our money on, though. I don't like it.
I don't know. It depends what kind of money he's asking for. He's got to be aware that health is a concern, and you're no good to us if you're not healthy and you can't play. So, I mean, he's got to be self-aware of that, I would think, right? Yeah. And I think that would come into consideration when it comes to coming up with the contract. Zesty garlic is very garlicky. Like, they are not kidding around when they talk about the garlic and zesty garlic. Yeah, it's funny because I feel like the quarterback trades that we've seen this offseason has kind of made us all start frothing at the mouth as far as like, okay, so that's what's going on with the Colts and that's what's going on with the Lions and the Rams. Okay, well, what's going on with our team? And it's like crickets. Like, we don't hear anything right now. So
it's the Tommy T way, man.
I know.
It's the Tommy T way. Something big's going to happen, and we're going to get like some atomic bombs going to drop on us, and we're going to pick up a whole bunch of free agents, or we're going to sign Hunter back, or we're going to do something. I feel like there's something looming right now, and it might even happen tomorrow because I know they can, franchise tag players starting.
Yeah, franchise tag start
Tuesday. We record this on Monday night. On Tuesday they start. So when you're listening to this, we might have franchise tagged them again. Who knows?
Yeah, but we don't. Free agency stuff can't hit until March 17th. So we still got time before anything can happen. There's going to be countless more rumors of, so and so did an interview with so and so, and same thing with the draft. Is like, every 5 seconds I see, They had a Zoom interview with this guy that's a prospect. I'm like, they're probably doing that with like 400. How many guys did we interview for our head coaching job?
Yeah.
They're probably interviewing everyone, especially without a combine and without all this other stuff. It's like they have to interview everyone.
Exactly. What else are you going to do?
Right.
As always, with the Charger Chat podcast, we always record on days where big news is probably going to happen tomorrow, and we won't necessarily talk about it for a week. Franchise tagging can start tomorrow. We'll get to see who that franchise tag player might be. I mean, there's been talk that Hunter Henry could get franchise tagged again. I don't know. I don't know what the benefits are.
I don't think he'd be too happy about. I think it's good for the club. It's bad for the player.
Well, it's expensive for us.
I was going to say it's pricey, right?
Yeah, a second year especially.
But it lets you lock him in without like really having to commit long term. And I could see how the Chargers could want to like maybe do that again, just with the fact that he finally did have a fairly healthy season, to see if he can put a back to back. I don't know. I don't think they will. And I'm after he was on Sirius XM radio being asked about his situation and approach to free agency, and he said, "I want to play somewhere there's a good quarterback." Well, you are in a place with a great quarterback, Henry. That's huge for our position. It makes things a lot easier. Playing with a good quarterback always makes things better. So I don't know. I don't know. Like that interview, I listened to it and I was like pumped. I was excited. I was like, Hunter, what's going on? Make me feel better that you're coming back. And I did not feel any better after listening to that interview.
Well, I guess I can see where, as a fan, you want to hear him say, "No, I want to be a Charger. That's the only place I want to play."
Yeah.
But he's not going to say that. He at the end of the day, his agent is negotiating the most money he could possibly get. And if the Chargers offer him a good deal, I'm sure he would want to stay. But he's not going to come out and say, "No, the only team I want to play for is the Chargers." All he said was, of any of the 32 teams that want me, I want to go somewhere with a good quarterback. Now, that does not exclude the Chargers. Obviously, we're included in that group now.
Sure.
No, but when he says that, you can't help but feel that he's playing coy. Like, just, I would, if he would have said something like, "I want to play somewhere where there's a good quarterback." I mean, this last season with Justin Herbert was awesome. I really enjoyed playing with him. He was a great quarterback. If I can find somewhere that I can play with someone like him.
He could have let in a little better.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it just kind of at least acknowledging that he did play with a good quarterback. And other people recognized that and had that same kind of feeling. And Hunter Henry had to basically respond and say, "Come on now, this is so out of context. Herbie is the man. Never said a bad thing about him. They asked what I'm looking for in free agency, and I answered that in a complete quote that you just took that part. What I said doesn't exclude Herbie. He's a freaking stud. This is just a clickbait post."
I kind of agree.
It is what you said. I obviously he's at least now come out and said that part of it.
Okay, if it was one thing if Hunter had said something bad about Herbert earlier in the season,
absolutely.
"Oh yeah, we're down to our rookie now," or if he even said anything like Coach Lynn. He's never said one bad thing about. If anything, we see them hanging out all the time on their social media accounts.
Right.
So it's like, I don't think that in any way, shape, or form he was alluding to the fact that he's not going to be there. I think if anything, it was a possible I need leverage. This is a leverage negotiation move. Where, look, guys, like, I'm not just going to sign with the Chargers because I'm signing with, like, if they give me a low ball offer, I'm not just going to come back and give you guys a deal. I still want top dollar. So if they're not going to give it to me, I want to go somewhere that has a good quarterback. And I'm not offended by that.
Well, and the thing is, it's kind of a loaded thing because, he says, "I want to play somewhere where there is a good quarterback," but there's not good quarterbacks all over the league. Like, he might not be getting an offer from a team that has a good quarterback. So by him saying that, I also kind of take it as like, I got a good thing here. Like, if I'm going to
give me the money and I'll show up.
Yeah, exactly. I got a good quarterback here. I want to play somewhere with a good quarterback. So, I think it blew up a little out of proportion, but
that's the shamelessly positive outlook right there.
He
was low key saying,
boom, shamelessly positive.
Him saying, "I want to play with a good quarterback." All of us took it as he doesn't want to play with Justin, but really it meant, I really want to play with Justin.
Yeah, really bad.
There you go. That's our take.
Give me my monies.
I think that's a hot take. It's because that's that we're Charger fans. We're clinging to every good player that we have on this roster, and we know how good Hunter Henry is, especially when he's healthy. So if we can hold on to Hunter Henry, and if he can at least kind of give us a glimmer of hope that, like, yes, I do want to stay with the Chargers, like, then that would just make us all get at least a little bit of a sigh of relief.
But there's some news that came out that I was literally like jaw on the floor, like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
What is happening? It was the Chargers are in talks about acquiring Zach Ertz in a trade.
Which is wild.
What the is going on?
Yeah.
And then this was from Sports Illustrated. This wasn't from somebody's like burner Twitter account, like making up crazy stuff or, whatever. This is a contact close to the former Pro Bowler has indicated that Eagle Maven, I think that's a part of SI, that the Los Angeles Chargers are interested in acquiring Ertz. The Los Angeles Rams also called Philadelphia inquiring about the tight end, but the Chargers' interest is believed to be heavier than the Rams, per a source. What do you take from that?
That's so dumb. Why would we trade and give up something to get Zach Ertz when you have Hunter Henry standing right there ready to sign?
I did that exactly. That doesn't make any sense. Is this are they just airing out are like the different camps throwing
now they're throwing crap out
snowballs.
to be like, nah, sorry, it's not all on your corner. We have some leverage too. It's honestly what it feels like right now.
Doesn't it? That was what I was thinking is like, I think the Zach Ertz news came out before the Hunter Henry interview.
And now
so
he's
it's
pissed.
like they saw that Hunter said something.
His agent goes, "Hey, we need leverage. Go out there and get us some.
Go say something with a little sharp edge on it, and see what happens." So I hope they can come to a deal. I don't want to lose Hunter. I just really enjoy having him on our football team.
Okay, I had a question going back to the whole franchise tag thing.
If your question is how spicy is the spicy peri peri strive,
how did you know?
It is actually quite spicy, and the hickory is delicious.
Okay, so far hickory takes the cake.
What's our favorite so far?
Honestly, my favorite I think is I think it's teriyaki, and then my second favorite is the zesty garlic. And I'm not big on spicy, but the spicy peri peri is actually like really dang good. Like I'm actually really impressed with that. So I know what flavors I'll be dipping back into when I place my order again. Strive, if you would like to sponsor the Charger Chat podcast, reach out to us on Twitter. Pretty please.
Okay, well, that was what I was going to ask. Another thing that just came to mind was, so let's say that the franchise tag doesn't go to Hunter Henry. And this is us spitballing right now. This is not a
that's what this whole
question.
Offseason is right now. It's all spitballs.
Right, but like, okay, so you have a franchise tag, and as we discussed, it's like it gives the club that's good for, like, it's a good like leverage for them, or not leverage but tactic to be able to keep a guy for a year, see how it goes. Who's the guy that you tag?
I think Hunter Henry is the only one that makes any sense right now. I don't see anyone else really on this roster that we haven't already signed.
Yeah, the only other one that I could see is Mike Davis. If things don't go our way in free agency with a corner, and you're sold on drafting a lineman at 13 overall or wherever it may be, that's the only guy I could see you keep around for one more year and see if he continues to get better or what. But other than that, it's like I don't really know who's worth a franchise tag. Yeah.
No.
So give it to Hunter. No,
just give the man his money.
No. I think you need a long-term deal, and you can load it up with a signing bonus and kind of mitigate some of the upfront costs for this year's cap. If you franchise tag him, it's all coming this year, so it's gonna hurt us pretty good for free agency and stuff. So I think you got to sign him to a long-term deal that benefits both sides. It has to happen, or you just let him go. The franchise tag's not the option. Sorry to go back to that point, but I just was interested. I just didn't know what you guys would think.
Yeah, I can't think of any other guys that are in the free agent category right now that we would benefit from franchise tagging. I know that there are some good players. I don't know, maybe Denzel? Not Herbert. Maybe Denzel Perryman, depending on like what, I don't know. I guess it just depends on what these guys are asking for and where they're getting
It's usually
offers.
it's big money. It's usually a good 1-year deal to franchise someone. So
I don't think anybody's worth it right now except for Hunter.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I agree.
But we don't want a franchise tag Hunter. We want
exactly.
We want to get him a deal. So if we get let's say we give Hunter Henry a deal, who do we franchise tag? Who could they use it on? Not necessarily saying that they are going to, but if it were up to us and we're playing with house money, who would we franchise tag?
I think you look at the secondary. Like right now, the two players that make kind of sense behind Henry, and it would be Davis or Rayshon Jenkins.
Yeah.
Those are the only two that, like, in the world of getting top 5 money at that position would make sense. So I don't know, but the star next to the player, in my opinion, is Hunter Henry.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we look at what franchise tag players make, which Kyle did some research, and it's the average of the top 5 player salaries in that position, or what was the other thing that you had?
Whatever's higher, either that or 120% higher than their last contract.
Okay. So finding the average between that, I think Jenkins or Mike Davis is not out of the question. I almost want to say Sam Tevy just a little bit, and Denzel Perryman, maybe. I mean, those are names that I think that if we do end up throwing a franchise tag out, which we'll find out tomorrow, possibly at least, if the Chargers do end up franchise tagging somebody, those are some names that I think if we do, I'm not going to be totally upset about.
I think we could get pitchforked and torched if we do that to Tevy. I think that would happen.
I think that would be, that's not a good, because you are like, we have talked about this a little bit in the past. Like if it's not a guy that's a top 5 at his position in the league, you're overpaying.
Right.
So who are you overpaying to keep on a 1-year deal? And I don't think, especially with the cap being down, I don't want to overpay anyone. So
right.
I just don't think.
Not with 9 draft picks.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I think it's Hunter Henry or bust as far as the franchise tag goes. I think that's the going census here on Charger Chat.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think that I'm not saying that the other guys aren't worth a franchise tag, and we'll find out if they possibly do. I think Jenkins, Davis, or Perryman, those would be my top 3. If any of those guys get tagged, I might be, pretty okay with that. But we'll find out tomorrow, and you won't hear about it on the Charger Chat podcast for at least a week. But let's see, looking at some of the other free agency news that's been popping around, boy, I mean, we talked about J.J. Watt getting released from the Texans, who has been with the Texans for the entirety of his career. Looks like the Broncos are likely to decline Von Miller's $18 million team option.
Yeah, talk about some rushers coming off some teams. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, these are some fast, heavy hitters like J.J. Watt and Von Miller floating around now, not knowing necessarily where they're going to play. So
I think it'll be interesting too, because they're like the 2 names you just said are 2 distinctly different situations from what I'm seeing. Like JJ Watt is just like, he's played his heart out for that organization and they're just granting him the ability to go try and win a championship because they're rebuilding. Von Miller, on the other hand, I think the big reason why he is not going to, the Broncos are going to decline his option is because he's like facing some legal trouble. Basically, they announced more than a month has passed since the Parker Police Department confirmed that Denver Broncos superstar Von Miller was the subject of an unspecified criminal probe. And that's all they're going to say about it. There's no other information like that's a gamut of possible dangerous things that he could be involved with. So it's a little scary. Like, it'd be cool to have Von Miller, but you know how Telesco is with character guys.
That's true.
So maybe this is just nothing, but it also is out there. And I think that may be why the Broncos might be moving on from Von Miller.
I mean, I'm sure it's a combination of that and just the lower cap next year, knowing that $18 million could be going to him where it could be spent elsewhere. I'm sure is being considered as well. I know that they were in talks for a short minute about possibly going for Deshaun Watson. And now, based on some of the other moves that we've seen in the offseason, it looks like Carolina actually might be taking more of a stab for Deshaun than anybody else because they've been letting a lot of guys go. So
what a crazy offseason, though, right?
It's a crazy offseason.
God, I'm so glad we have Justin Herbert, and we're not one of these teams.
Yeah.
I know.
If
they're
we
about
gave
to
up
sell the farm to get, a lot of these guys are willing to sell the farm to get Watson.
Everything that your whole future to get him, and you're paying him hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
It's not like you got a guy like we got in Justin, where solid stud future of the team, and we have a cap to build a team around him right now.
Right.
Totally.
If you get Deshaun, you lose all your draft picks,
Right.
and you have no money for free agency.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet.
Yeah, or you're the Rams and you're giving away first round picks to get Matthew Stafford,
to get him and to get rid of him.
God,
just dealing out some first rounders.
I'm so glad that, again, just very thankful for what Tom Telesco has done. He gets some heat sometimes on some of the draft picks that we've gotten that have just not exactly panned out, but dude has been able to handle the money in the situation where we've got Justin Herbert.
Spanos wouldn't have hired someone that just let dead cap money go away.
Yeah.
That's like the number one question in the interview is, how are you going to keep our dead money to nothing? That's the first thing they
keep it
ask.
low. Keep our shrink low.
Don't waste my money.
Exactly. But like out of those two, my question to you guys is, would you rather have Von Miller or JJ? These are long shots, obviously. But if you could get one of those players, who would you pick?
JJ. easily JJ, I think.
Oh man, that's so hard. I think that if I had some certainty with Vaughn about this situation, because it's not as if it's a like second offense or third offense. I don't think it's a character thing. No one on his team has ever said he was a bad teammate. I think the idea of having familiarity of some of the Broncos staff on our team, having Chris Harris, who was a leader on the Broncos alongside Von Miller. Right. I think if you could get a Von Miller, what you would assume is somewhat of a discounted price, probably on a 1-year deal. I would not be upset. Like, even if it's a 2 or 3 year deal with a club option to get out after 2, I don't know. I think I might go with Von. I think I might go with Von Miller. And Staley's coached him. Staley knows him. Like, he knows the character the guy has. So
that was my point. Remember the video, his introduction video, where he had the Von Miller jersey framed up on his wall, and it was like signed, like, "I love you, coach. You're my favorite," kind of thing. Like, there's a connection there for sure. So I think out of, we're always connecting the dots to Staley. This is a direct connect. For sure. JJ might not be a direct connect. This might be the easier. As long as the probe, if you will, is not that bad and he's not on the hook for major stuff, like, it's something to look at least, in my opinion. So I would go with, now that Von Miller's available, like, kind of like Von Miller a little bit more. Just, I don't know why.
I mean, they're two different positions, right? Von Miller's a linebacker and JJ Watt is a defensive lineman, right?
Yeah. So JJ plays more in the 3-4. Yeah. Von Miller plays a little bit more of that outside linebacker rush guy, and JJ Watt's that occupy bodies, get in the trenches, do the dirty work kind of player. But Vaughn could do both for sure. JJ is not at a point where he can do both.
They're very similar player. They're very similar. They're pass rushing specialists. Like, they, whatever you call them, whatever defense they are, they rush the passer and they go get sacks.
Right.
That's what those two guys do. Right now, they're so close for me, but I'd lean into the Vaughn.
Yeah, and I feel like JJ Watt, where he would fit in the scheme of our defense, aligns a lot with the Joey Bosa.
We already got one of those.
I think Joey Bosa is
But what if we had
the younger, longer, but not as good? He's not as good. I think he has the same skill set. JJ Watt is on his last contract. He's well aware of that. Right. He's been hurt a lot. I don't know. I personally, as long as our coach is cool with him, he knows him, and like, he's like, yeah, I'm willing as a 38, 38-year-old head coach. I'm really put my neck out there for this guy. I'd be pretty confident in him being around. So if Coach Staley's cool with him, then yeah, I would prefer Von Miller. I think
JJ Watt would probably put more butts in seats, but
enjoy JJ Watt Island over there, Adam Woolley.
I'm good over here.
I'd like to hear from our fans in the chat down below. Let us know. You will want JJ Watt or Von Miller? What would you prefer? And we'll get on there and we'll let Adam Woolley love up on all you JJ Watt Island people.
Give me some love. Give me some love. Give me some love. All right. Well, we'll see what happens as the offseason continues, who we pick up in free agency. I mean, obviously moves are already happening as far as trades. We've seen it from other teams, and we'll see what happens with the franchise tag, if anything. But it's an exciting offseason. Again, it's scary knowing how many guys are not promised to come back to the Chargers next year. That is a long list. It's sad.
So sad to see them go, except unless you're Trey Turner. Then bye-bye.
Yeah, don't let the door hit you.
Bye-bye.
Or the good Lord split you.
That was a good one. I like that one.
I like that.
All right. Well, next, we found a really good interview with Frank Smith, who is our new offensive line coach and run game coordinator. He was on the LA Football Network, LAFB. That's hosted by Ryan Dyrud and former 13-year NFL veteran Frosty Rucker. They gave us permission to play a few sound bites of the 40-minute interview. It was a great interview. So we'll play a few sound bites. Kevin grabbed he cherry-picked some really good ones. But definitely go and check out the LA Football Network podcast. There, you can find them on Twitter at LAFB Network. So here is Coach Smith talking about the coaching staff, his philosophy, and what he will be looking for in possible offensive line free agents and draft prospects.
What impacted my coaching the most is being a dad. So how do I get, the greatest gift in life is you realize that you have no control of anything. You only control your response. You only control what you can control. I can't control someone else. So when I was trying to get my oldest son to do something, and it just one ear out the next, and it was just like, why is this not working? I'm an NFL coach. I got master of communication skills. I can get this guy to, and just realize that, okay, I'm saying too much. And just the constant simplification of, okay, what is the direct message? Like, don't waste time on things that don't matter. And I think being a dad is the number one thing that's kind of shaped me. I think as you move inside of a staff, I mean, you really realize functional staff, good guys, it's a collaboration. You know, the job is to win. And how do we get that done? We have to do it together. And I can already tell it's like we have that collaboration element going on. We're having the dialogues, the appropriate ones, the constructive things. Right now, it's just we're formulating the puzzle to, you know, how are we going to teach this system? What are we going to be? What's our identity? Because, you know, I just think the hardest thing in the NFL is if you don't have an identity for what you want to be or what you aspire to be or know what you want to be, that's when you struggle. You just kind of a collection of plays. All right. And we just want to make sure right now we have the chance to build who we want to be. My input here, my input there. It's just finding a way to get the job done. The job is to win and bring a championship to this building, to this organization in the city.
If you're at the combine, you're checking guys out, you're taking your notes down of what you're looking for offensive alignment. What are those key things that you're looking for, those elements for offensive alignment?
Those communications that we're going to have, actually, we're starting, literally got the folder put on my desk today. So we're going to start that process for overall free agent and the combine and draft and all that stuff. Well, combine's not happening this year. So it's like where that process is beginning. But I would say that like the intangible things are, can you learn and do you love football? Because I think so many times in Frosty, I know you and I have talked about this where, you know, the toughness element of a football player, it's like, I think it's inherent to the game. Like if you're not tough, because what does tough mean? My version is going to be different than Ryan's and different than yours. Like tough is kind of, it's an arbitrary word where you can make an assessment, but I think we all know what love means. Like you have children, you love your girlfriend, you love your wife, you love your parents, you love your grandparents. Like we know what that feeling feels like. It's more concrete in our mind. And when you love something, you sacrifice for it. You do the things that you don't want to do. Do I want to change my daughter when she's younger? Do I want to change her dirty diapers? No, but I love her, so I'll do it. Okay. So like just simple things to that. So if you love football, you're going to do the dirty things. Like you're going to take on the double team you're going to split that double team if you're a D lineman. You're going to freaking run and cover the ball if you're an O lineman. You're going to run off the ball. You're going to crack, replace, and make the tackle if you're a corner. There's certain aspects to the game where you can see if they truly love it. I think that's the most important thing that I would say is guys who love this. Like as a coach, you love football. I don't care about the hours. Like the hours are just a constraint. Like I haven't worked a day in my life because I really do love what I do. I love the people. So if guys who love now, can they learn? Now, we're not asking you to learn the capital of, you know, South Dakota, which is Pierre, but it's like, we're asking you to learn football. Can you learn it? Now, some guys learn different ways. That's on us as, you know, in the fundamental coach as a teacher. So we have to teach the game and teach the toolbox of skills, but can you learn? So different guys, like, if you can learn and you love it, you meet our physical characteristics that we're looking for. Those are the guys we're going to be looking for.
Yeah, so thank you so much, LA Football Network, for letting us play that. You know, it's so nice to hear from our other coaches. We've only heard from our head coach, so hearing, you know, and some of our other ones, but not like our offensive line coach or anything like that. So to hear from him and hear his kind of philosophy and how he goes about his business is kind of awesome because it kind of sounds like it aligns with our head coach.
Yeah, and it was cool to hear that the inner workings of the team together.
Yeah.
Talking about how they're all working together, and he puts in his 2 cents where he knows what he's talking about. Obviously, he's an O-line coach now and a running game coordinator, but he was a tight end coach for a long time. And he talked about how, like, yeah, if they have questions, I put in my 2 cents. And my favorite part was the idea that they're putting together their identity before they get into the details of the playbook. Because that's what it has to be. You have to have an identity or you get lost. You get lost in the play calling. You get lost in the game. I think that's what happened to the Chargers this last year. In the run the ball, pass the ball. What kind of team are we? Are we a grind it out? Are we an air, like throw the ball a bunch? Who are we and what do we do? And it was like, it was seen to be difficult for the coaches to call plays because they didn't know what the identity was. So that I love that part of it, that they're all getting together as a staff. It seems like they're getting along so far, and yeah, it's good. I thought that was an awesome interview.
I think it's funny because I'm listening to him talk, and I can see a lot of why Staley picked him, just because it's a complete opposite to what it feels like football was, especially way back in the day. You know, we're not talking about like Matt Campbell, you know, biting kneecaps and we're going to play tough. We're going to get dirty. We're going to get bloody. And I don't care whose mama you have to punch in the mouth to get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. Like, it's more like, hey guys, let's figure out our identity. Like, let's
change some diapers, you know?
Let's change some diapers.
Let's love it too.
Yeah. Let's, do you love this? And what will you sacrifice to do what you love? I don't know. I think it's an interesting perspective, especially from somebody that is an offensive line coach. Like, we're not talking about, the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, anybody in necessarily like a higher position, but just somebody from the ground up. Like, that is their mentality, is to be a cohesive team, to work together and to be the best that they could be. And being inspiring, I guess, is my point in that type of talk. Like, what he said was inspiring. Like, that's good motivational talk. And I think if he's able to transfer that to the offensive line, whoever that ends up being, I think like we only have like a handful of offensive linemen that are for sure right now.
I think it was interesting what he said too. There's a little bit of like, it's hidden in there if you go back and listen to it, but he says that, I just got the book on all these potential guys just landed on my desk.
Oh,
This was the end of last week. So the 2 weeks prior of people saying rumors, we're going to get this guy, or this might be our guy, or this might be this, or this might be that. Our offensive line coach hadn't even analyzed him yet because their book just landed on his desk.
Okay.
So I think there's something to be said for, we still got a little time until we have to start making these free agent decisions. They're still analyzing. They just got started. So yeah, we'll get there. We will
get there. Yeah. Because there's a lot of offensive linemen that are in the free agency right now that, I mean, they make my mouth water just thinking about, like, oh my God, just imagine this being the line that's protecting Justin Herbert. Yes, I'm thirsty for the lineman, Kevin. Deal with it. My mouth, it's watering.
Oh God.
And it's mostly watering because of some product like Strive biltong. Beef biltong comes in flavors like zesty garlic.
Oh my God.
Excellent.
Sales pitch.
Well, great interview with Coach Smith. And again, thank you guys over at the LA Football Network. We really appreciate you guys letting us use that to share with everybody else. And now we are going to move over to Coach's Corner. And as we mentioned last week, we are going to cherry pick a question that you guys asked. That's right, you people, you listening right now. We asked you a question and you answer because we cherry picked one for Coach to kind of dive in and digest. And the lucky one was Zach Marincic. Congratulations, buddy. Coach is going to take your question and he's going to dissect it and he's going to get all up in it. So
he's going to take it to the limit. The limit!
So Zach Marincic asked the question.
I have been watching Zaven Collins from Tulsa, and I love his film. A linebacker that's great in coverage seems very intriguing to me. Do you guys think he would actually fit Staley's scheme?
I sometimes when you do your voices, I feel like I have to take a break before I just answer.
I always get a little worried because I feel like you guys are expecting more, and it's like that's the end of the question. That's
it. Yeah. And what was his name one more time?
It was Zach Marincic.
Zach Marincic. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay. So going into the part of the question that I really liked is, does he fit into our defense and the scheme that we're looking to run? So this is a guy, Zaven Collins. He's an outstanding linebacker from Tulsa. He's a huge talent. We're not going to get him. That's not going to be who we draft. He's a first-round guy. We're not going back-to-back drafts with first-round linebacker. It's just not going to happen. If it does, my good friend Adam Woolley is going to die. So it better not happen.
But I'm just saying, it's just funny because we all felt the same way last draft. We were like, Kenneth Murray, we're not going to get this guy. I mean, it's good. No, it's not going to happen. Then all of a sudden, our heads explode.
I guess I shouldn't say that, but it's not likely.
Yeah.
But he is a great player, and the question still applies: would a player like that fit into our scheme? And I think. To answer that most broadly, and then I'll go into a little bit more. Yes, I think that kind of a player fits into any scheme. That's what's that's what's great about a player that can do a lot of different things is you can plug them in multiple positions. It comes down to the coordinator being really good and putting them in at the right times, and designing the defense so that it is adaptable. People know multiple roles, and that's the big thing for him. A player that has that kind of in between, great in coverage, good against the run. Is he able to learn more than one position? Because if you just say, hey, I only have the capacity to learn one position, then it's no good. Right. There's no point in having multiple skill sets. Just be good at one thing then. So there's a whole lot that goes into it. We saw it. We've done it. We've drafted some of those guys. Derwin James obviously is the standout, and he's all pro. He's a Pro Bowler every single year, and unless he's hurt. So yeah, having diversity in the NFL now is vital, because anytime an offensive coordinator is looking at a defense, even play to play, in between plays, they're looking for the weakness. They're looking for where is the mismatch. Do I have an inside linebacker based on personnel on the field? Do I have an inside linebacker that's going to run downfield with my tight end? I'll take that every time, right? So they're looking for matchups. If you have a guy that can do multiple things and that offensive coordinator doesn't know exactly what his role is on that play, that gives you the upper hand. They're not just going to pick at you and take advantage of you all game long. So having guys that can do multiple things, line up in multiple positions, obviously, especially now, you can't just be a linebacker that is a run stuffer. If that's the case, you're going to be on the field 20% of the plays, and you're not going to be a big-time first-round pick. You have to be able to cover. That's just a necessity. That's why Kenneth Murray was such a big pick, because he's so fast. He can get sideline to sideline. He obviously is going to get more comfortable and better at doing that. He didn't really play a whole lot. He did a lot of pass rushing in college, so he's still getting better at it. But that was one of the big things in the draft, was this guy's fast. He can run, he can cover, he can get out in space. So do I think that he would be a good fit on our defense? Zaven Collins? Yes, absolutely. Do I think he's going to end up on our team? No, I don't think so. It's possible. Like we said, we had 2 first-round picks last year, which no one thought was going to happen. Right. Do I think he'll come to us? No. Would he fit? Yes. And kind of the idea, I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference 4-3 and a 3-4. 4-3, what we used to run, has a little bit more defined roles.
Is this 4-3 Hawkeye, or which one is this one?
And I'm going to get into a little bit into the idea of a 3-4 and the Eagle front, because I did do a little bit more research. I always ran a 4-3 in high school. I thought it was the simplest and easiest to teach. The 3-4, a lot of the times, and I guess I just get into it now. The 3-4, there's different ways to run it. There's the Okie, which is the Okie front. So 3-4 Okie. It's awesome name, right? Okie doggy. There's the 3-4 Eagle front, which is what we've been hearing for the last 6 months. And then there's a 3-4 under front. So those are the 3 main ways of running the 3-4 personnel. What we're going to be running is a 3-4 Eagle. So the idea is you don't create a whole lot of 2-gap players. 2-gap meaning in an Okie, 3-4 Okie, your defensive linemen are all responsible for 2 gaps. That's tough. I mean, being responsible for 1 gap is hard. But what they do with the techniques they align them in, it makes them have to play 2 gaps. So that's the main difference between all these different styles of a 3-4. You always have 3 linemen, 4 linebackers. That's consistent. The difference between the different types of fronts, so if someone says Eagle front, Okie front, under front, it's just where those 3 linemen line up. So in the Eagle front, you have a 0 technique nose guard. That means he's head up on the center. And you have 2 4-eye techniques. 4-eye means you're in an inside shade of the tackle. Okay. So if you're on the inside shade or inside shoulder of the tackle, you can't play the gap that's outside of the tackle. He has you beat every time. So in the 3-4 Okie, you're head up. Instead of being in 4 eyes with your tackles, you're in a 4, which is head up on the tackle. And you're going to take that tackle on head up, and you have to be able to play inside and outside. So the 3-4 Eagle front just simplifies it a little bit and says, look, defensive end, you have the B gap, or the gap between the guard and tackle, because we're lining you up in a 4-eye, you're already in there. So it just eliminates a little bit of that. It also is great against pulls. So if that guard tries to pull, you're already on the inside shade of the tackle. you can either chase it down or defeat the pull block a little bit easier. So there's a lot of different reasons why you run different things. But I just wanted to make sure that I brought that up just to there's differences between them. The main difference between any type of 3-4 is the way that those three defensive linemen are lining up in their alignment. That's the main thing. But 4-3 and 3-4 roles, the main change and the player that needs to be way different is your outside linebacker. It's new. It's a different position. In the 4-3, you don't have an on the line of scrimmage rushing the quarterback outside linebacker. You have defensive ends. You have two of them, and they rush the quarterback. In the 3-4, there's three defensive linemen. Those guys are run stuffers. You want to be able to force double teams, just hold linemen on you so that linebackers can fly around and make plays. So the vital position change this year for the Chargers is the outside linebacker, and it has to be addressed at free agency and through the draft because we don't really have we don't have that type of person, and that type of person it's going to be an oversized outside line or oversized linebacker, undersized defensive end. Basically, that's the kind of person that fits in there. They're fast and agile to be a linebacker, but they're a little too big, and they're not quite big enough to be a defensive end. They're right there in the middle. And that's the kind of guy that we need to address. So as you look at these guys like Zaven Collins, he's a great football player, and I'm sure he would be a great inside linebacker for us. We only have two of them now, so we don't need, and we have quite a few good ones. Kenneth Murray and Drew Tranquill are your starters. Boom, right off the bat. So you don't need that first round pick to be spent on an inside backer. We need those guys that are going to come off the outside lineup as an outside linebacker because that's what makes the 3-4 special. So yeah, I don't think Zaven Collins is coming to the Chargers, but I agree with your take on him being a great athlete, and whoever gets him is going to get a hell of a football player.
Darn it, I wish it was us, but thank you, Kyle.
God, I feel so much smarter now. Holy shit, Kyle. Thank you.
I know. I'm
not being sarcastic either.
I'm not either.
Shit. 4 eyes and shades and gaps.
Right. Okies.
Okie doggy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's good though.
It's great. It's a lot to digest, and I mean, you're able to explain it in a way that we can all wrap our head around. I mean, I'm constantly hearing about how people enjoy you breaking it down for them and explaining it in a way that when, we can watch games now and we can maybe at least have an idea of like, are they running an Okie? Are they running an Eagle? Are they running, who's this outside linebacker? Who's coming into play? And it'll be fun. You're going to make games a lot more fun to watch. So thank you, Kyle. Appreciate you breaking that
You're
down.
Welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Dude, I always love hearing you breaking it down because it just, you make it easy for me to understand. All right. Well, now it's time to look over to our fan focus. And who do we have this week, Kev?
We have an exciting one. Let's go check it out. All right, guys, we are here with another fan focus, and we're excited to welcome on Dave, who is the president of the brand spanking new Montana Diehard Bowl Club charter. Thank you so much for coming on, Dave.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, cool. So whenever we talk to somebody new, the first thing we want to ask is, how did you become a Charger fan?
Well, I was never into football, and then I moved to Montana right before 7th grade, and I was really shy and quiet, and I met this kid in 7th grade who was a big football fan. He was really popular, and I thought, well, if I get this kid to like me, then I'll be accepted. Well, he was a Vikings fan.
Gotcha.
So I went and got a Vikings sweatshirt, and we started talking. I decided I better start watching some football. So I watched a Vikings-Chargers game, Eric Coryell, Danny Fouts, and that was all it took.
Awesome.
Been a Chargers fan ever since.
Flip sides on him. I love it.
Yep, that's how it happened.
That's cool, man. So you've been a fan for a long time, and that's awesome to hear that you're also starting a charter for the Die Hard Bolt Club out there in Montana. Right. So tell us a little bit how that came about.
Well, I've had a Facebook page for a couple of years called Chargers Fans in the 406, which is our area code. And we've been slow building. This is Montana, so it's Broncos country, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so we've been slowly growing. And then my son and I were at the Chargers Chiefs game back in January, and I met some people and they talked to me about it. And I thought, cool, let's do it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, we went to that game as well. The podcast, all three of us went out to the Kansas City game. That was pretty nice seeing Herbert throw it all over the field and tear them up. Even though they were second stringers, it was still a delicious win.
Well, I've had some Chiefs fans say the same thing to me, but the way I look at it, with all of our starters that were out too,
yeah,
it was like second string versus second string, except for our quarterback. So
absolutely,
and Eckler.
And Eckler, yeah. There's so much going on with Charger, the fandom right now and everything. There's so many things changing. There's so much going on. What are you most looking forward to during this off season?
Them getting healthy. I don't know what's going on with their conditioning team, but that doesn't seem like – it seems like we have an extraordinary amount of injuries. And I'm really hoping that this new staff that's coming in can shake things up and get them healthy. Because I think if we were healthy, we'd be unstoppable.
100%. We're like always injured team, always the most, recycling guys, especially our offensive line, always getting guys in and out. We can't keep guys healthy. So that's a huge thing, is try and get those guys healthy. And, what are some things that you think we need to improve on in terms of our players and in terms of our position groups? What is something you would like to see us attack this offseason? I
would like to see our O-line get stronger. We need to keep our golden boy Herbert safe.
Yeah, buddy.
The guy is going to be a history writer. He's going to make a lot of history with what he's doing. He's already made history with what he's done, and we need to keep him safe so he can stick with us for a number of years. I was a big Phil Rivers fan. I don't know if you can see it behind me, but actually my son, when he was 9 years old, saved money for a year and got me an autographed Phil Rivers football.
Oh, man. Son of the year on that one.
Exactly. And he went to his first Chargers game in, was it 2017 when it was their first official game as the LA Chargers. They played a Monday night game in Denver. And we lost by a field goal. They iced the kicker in the last minute, but that was his first Chargers game. It's like, buddy, hate to say this, but get used to it. But the other two games that I've taken him to, we've won. So
sounds like a good luck charm. Are you going to go to any SoFi games this upcoming year?
If it's open, I so want to hit Thunder Alley. I cannot wait. I've met so many people online. It's funny. I met a guy at the last game, and he and I were actually friends on Facebook, and I didn't even realize it. He was from Hawaii. And he and I started talking. He goes, "Well, man, add me." And I looked, and we were already added, So, and I've met people. I met a guy from Scotland at the Chargers Bears game in Chicago last year, and it's just cool meeting all these people from all over the world that are big fans. So I like the how the Die Hard Bolt Club has fan bases all over the world as well.
It's pretty great. Like, we've been talking to a lot of fans the last couple of years, just meeting new people on these fan focuses, and most of them aren't in Southern California. We have, in New Zealand and, London, and they're all over the place. And it's so nice to see that, our fan base, people always give us shit for not filling up the stadium, but we do have fans out there, and we really respect what you're doing with your charter out there. And if somebody is listening to this and is in your general vicinity, how would they get a hold of you to try and get on that charter?
The address is at DHBCMT, so they can find me that way. Like I said, I'm on Facebook, David Phelps, and my profile picture is me and my son with the Chiefs football field in the background from our game there. So you can track me down either way, or the Chargers fans in the 406, and I can refer them over to the Twitter account from that Facebook page.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for your time, Dave. We're really awesome to have you on, and have a good off season, and let's go Chargers.
That's right. Go Chargers. Appreciate it, man.
Dave from Montana.
Hope you kept the receipt on that Viking sweater that you bought.
Send that one back. But yeah, it's cool that now we're talking to some older fans that were in the Fouts days, and they started when they were young. It's just cool. I just love the fan focuses, meeting new people. So thanks for taking it up the Die Hard Bolt Club charter over there. And if you're in the Montana area, reach out to Dave and sign up for that bad boy. Let's get everybody on.
Well, I am Montana adjacent, so I'll probably be peeping that out for sure. Thank you, Dave. All right. Well, as always, before we get into Ask Twitter, we got to touch on our sound bites. And this week we've got Scott from OC. What do you got, Scott?
Hey, guys. It's Scott from OC. How are you doing? I hope you guys are doing well. What I got for you guys this week, I want to pick your guys' brains about a few things concerning the free agent market and possibly the draft. I mean, we're hearing players connected like J.J. Watt, Jacob Johnson, Richard Sherman, all players whom I would love to have on our team. But one name has popped up in the past few days that has me and other Charger fans very concerned. Zach Ertz, tight end out of Philadelphia. I don't like that one bit. I'm hearing that it's possibly trade talks, and Zach Ertz is talking about he wants a big contract, and I just don't think for how old Zach Ertz is and how poorly he played last season that we should give him that opportunity. But also, we also have Hunter Henry, whom we all want to be re-signed and extended to be our official franchise tight end. If you heard the SiriusXM interview that Hunter Henry was on a few days ago, Hunter Henry himself does not sound too confident that he's going to be re-signed by the Chargers. And as a huge Hunter Henry fan, after hearing that, I am officially concerned that he's not going to sign with the Chargers. If we let Hunter Henry walk, we don't pick up a tight end in the free agency, what do you guys think about playing with the idea of possibly pursuing Kyle Pitts in the first round, tight end out of the University of Florida? So do we take that chance if he falls to us, or we're in a position where we can possibly get him at number 13 or trade up? What do you guys think? Yeah, let me know. Keep bolting up. I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, love you. Bye.
All right. So we kind of unpacked this a little bit earlier. The whole Pitts thing. Okay. I just watched a video of him like working out earlier today. Pretty impressive.
Sure.
And technically, the tight end is an offensive lineman, technically. So it wouldn't be.
That's shamelessly positive.
It wouldn't be off
my
brand. Wouldn't be off brand
to call Kyle Pitts an offensive lineman. He would spit in your face.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take it back. I don't think it'd be so cool to get Pitts because he's such a freak athlete. But I still think it's like comes down to what's more important. Like we have some serviceable tight ends right now on our roster. We don't have very many serviceable offensive linemen tackle in on our roster. So I think even if this were to go down and we were to let him walk and we didn't get Ertz or whatever happened, I still think first round you have to go tackle. I can't get my mind straight on it. I tried to go shamelessly positive and I couldn't quite go there with you on that one, my man.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way. Okay, I'm not going to do this because I'll jinx us.
Don't do it.
There's a chance we could draft Pitts. Wink, wink. But I hope we don't.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
It's like nothing against the guy. Like I'm sure he'll be a great tight end. I need a great offensive tackle. That's what we need.
But it's just value, though. You got to look at it like when it comes up to 13 and Pitts is sitting there.
When is enough? When is enough enough? I'm
when
done
is
with
enough?
Best value. When is enough enough? We need a tackle. Like, I understand best available. I get it. It makes sense logically. But sooner or later, there's just never going to be. What if we go 40 years and there's never a tackle as the best available? Then what?
I know. I'm with you, Kyle. I'm totally with you. And I think
when is enough enough?
When is it enough?
God, enough is enough.
I've had it up to
Paxton
here.
Ace, enough is enough. It's a conversation I had with my son.
Do you know how fast you're going to shut up right now?
Oh man, yeah. I hope they get. I just don't even. It just.
I don't even care if we reach at 13 for a tackle. Reach. If 12 tackles go before us,
big stretch.
Reach.
Big stretch.
Wow, Kyle's all in on tackle.
This makes me happy because everybody's been like, "Ooh, if we don't get an offensive lineman, Wolldog's going to be pissed." Like, I'm glad to hear that at least Kyle is in my corner.
It's just
that's
because
like
it's not flashy. But that's the thing is, I know for a fact that's not going to be the case. Like, I've looked at some of these mock drafts. There's like 5 quarterbacks going before us. Like Mac Jones is going before the 13th pick. If that many quarterbacks go, there's no way that more than 1 or 2 tackles is going to go. So a great elite day one starting tackle is going to be there.
Have to.
Like, if somebody comes and like, hey, we need to move up 2 spots to get this guy that we really need, and we're like, okay, cool, give us a second round pick, and you bump back and you still get one of those 2 tackles that are left, awesome. But like other than that, you draft your tackle at 13.
I'm with you,
I don't know.
And I'm glad I'm not alone.
I'm with you too. I'm fully on board with the tackle. I think you have to do it.
All right. Well, thank you, Scott from OC, and thanks for pumping us up as we go now into what used to be Ask Twitter, but is now Ask Bolt Fam. So thanks to, I believe it was Mike Nava that recommended that.
And thank you for the few of you that reached out with options. We threw it, names in a hat, pulled it out, and we are Ask Bolt Fam. So thank you for reaching out. We appreciate it.
And to the victor go the spoils, which is Mike Nava. Congratulations. You win the all expense paid trip to your living room. Because this is lockdown and we are in COVID.
Because we're in quarantine.
It is a pandemic. So to start us off with our new segment of Ask Bolt Fam, as you may have noticed, we didn't have a soundbite from our usual Craig from Texas, but he did send in a question, and so I will ask that now. He had a request for a voice, and I think if I do this entire thing in the voice that he requested, you would all be putting a gun in your mouth. So I will save it for just his actual question. And the rest we will just we'll speak normal as regular people. Okay.
CC bros, how goes it? What are each of your opinions on standing pat and picking at 13, the drafting, or trading back?
All right, enough of that. There is enough talent at left tackle with guys like Verrett Tucker and Dylan Reduns that there could be a very real opportunity to gain an additional second or third rounder while still filling a need with a quality rookie starter to protect Jay Herbo's blind side. If a few holes can be filled via free agency that provides some serious draft flexibility for Staley and Telesco to go shopping with, have 10 picks come April puts us in prime position to build a strong roster for years to come. Thoughts? Hashtag okay, love you, bye. All right.
Good question.
Dude, if I did that whole thing in Yoda, we would lose half of our subscribers would be out the door. There would just be a hole in the wall the size of 500 people.
I think just to talk on this, I think what Kyle said in the last one is like if there are all these quarterbacks in the draft that are taken before 13, if there's a good amount of them, and there are still tackles left up on the board, I'm open. It just got to be a tackle. If the value isn't there for the guy that's available at 13, bump back and get a little more, 10 draft picks total. That's kind of where I'm at.
It's okay. So it makes sense, Greg. Like building for the future. Yeah, that looks good. We're building to win right now. We have Justin Herbert on a rookie contract. You have to win in the next 4 years. Not to say we can't win later on, but now gives you the best chance to win right now. We have 5 offensive linemen on that start, right? Every other position, a couple. There's 5 guys, and you could argue that we need 4 new offensive linemen. It's not going to get done with just picking up 2 guys in free agency, and then you have flexibility in the draft. We need depth at every position because we can't stay healthy. Right. You have to start addressing it right now.
When is it enough?
Enough is enough. I don't know. I don't know the ideal world. Maybe if it happens and they do a bunch, because Trey Turner should be gone. Feeney should be a guard at best. Sam Tevi is gone. That's 3 positions. Center, right guard, left tackle, all need to be addressed. Right. So even if Feeney bumps over for Lamp and you keep Balaga at right tackle, that leaves 3 positions that need to be filled. And for day one starters, that's not going to get done in free agency. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more scenarios I run through. And I wish we could draft a flashy wide, a Waddle in the first round would be a fun draft pick. But the more I think about it, it's look, you're going to go pay top dollar offensive tackle free agency. Not this year. That's not what the free agency, that's not what the cap looks like. You can't go pay those guys. You get a day one starter offensive tackle in the draft. You're saving millions and millions and millions of dollars. And that's what we have to do. I don't know. There's other positions on our team of need that can be addressed in free agency. And we probably will address one of those other spots, but you can get a great center for not top dollar offensive tackle. I just think looking at the whole roster, I don't know how you build it with a second or third round offensive tackle, Trey Pipkins type. You know, you have to have that guy. We got to have that first round offensive tackle to make the money make sense in all the other positions. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's just like, this doesn't make sense how little we draft linemen in the first. It's like, just let us in the club. I want to be like,
just want to get in, man.
I want to be seen as a real franchise that doesn't just draft.
We're standing outside the club. And there's no girls around. We're standing there by ourselves, and we just want to tackle. Let us in.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting take as far as where the money gets spent. And, there are quite a few free agent offensive linemen that are available right now. But what is the money that they're asking versus what we will end up drafting? We know what kind of money is spent on the guys that go into the draft. And if you can build a cheap offensive line that is not just cheap, but it's also really good.
A four-year reasonably priced, and then you have to pay them later. Like that makes way more sense than.
And in 4 years, the cap will be back to where it is post-pandemic. Correct. You could get a guard center for not a huge amount of money, and then you get that inexpensive rookie contract on a first-round guy. I don't know. I just don't see how this is going to work out. It might. I'm not as smart as Tommy T. I don't know everything that goes into every minute detail, but in my mind, it's like offensive tackle first round alleviates a lot of money to be spent other places.
Correct. I mean, the same can almost be said for just about any position, but that is our biggest position of need.
That's the big ticket item.
The top paid positions are quarterback, offensive tackle, and pass rusher. Those are the guys that get paid the most money. So, like, if you can get any of those guys first round, we don't need a quarterback. Edge rusher, I guess, would be the only other guy that you could argue. Is a big free agent money guy that you may look at in the first. But in my mind, that's not as big of a glaring need. Uchenna Nwosu is back, and I hope that he has a breakout year. As far as tackle goes, there's just nobody. You have to have a guy.
Yeah.
So it's dire. To build a roster financially, I don't know how you don't go first round tackle.
Boy, we will find out. But thank you, Craig. Always good to hear from you, even if I'm giving you a Yoda voice. All right. Well, now let's look at the rest of you Bolt fam members. We'll start off with Anchovies21, who asked the question.
Yeah. Hey, guys. What is your favorite all-time Chargers moment? And what is your all-time worst Chargers moment? Sad emoji face.
Okay, I got mine. So mine easily was beating Pittsburgh to go to the Super Bowl. Like I remember I was pretty young. What was that, 94? So I was 10.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Like I remember vividly like my entire family freaking out and jumping and running outside and just running down the street yelling that we were going to the Super Bowl. Like I vividly remember that. It was such a special day. That game wasn't as big as big of a moment for me, but getting there was. And then off the top of my head, I was there for this game. It was when Kading was playing against the Jets in the playoffs.
Say no more.
And just Kading'd it.
Kading.
That was just bad.
Yeah.
Just kicking in general, like just never being clutch enough. That's always been the worst Charger moments.
One of the best percentages in regular season. And they just always
missed every field goal in one game. Like it's just
in the postseason.
Those were mine. What about you, Kyle?
That's bad. I was too young for the Super Bowl team. I was 4 years old. So
dude, you were running around. You were running with me. We were running down the street together. You didn't have a shirt on. We were partying, bro. You were a quick 4-year-old.
You had that memory. That's not a part of my brain. But my favorite Charger moment. And I think it's because it's just so beloved and like remembered and gets talked about all the time is that LT breaking this single season TD record against Denver at the Q. And like all the offensive linemen that were so hyped about it. And I remember that game. Like I was old enough to remember that. It was like the Chargers were in the spotlight, like we were recognized and like appreciated for something. And LT never won a Super Bowl, but that was one of the big records that he owns. And so that was really cool. For me, the worst moment in Chargers history that I remember had to be the 2006 divisional round against the Patriots. Marlon McCree fumbling a pick that would have sealed the game. And then they do the lights out dance on our logo. man, even being a 16-year-old kid, I was ready to go fight someone on the field.
Yeah.
God, that was like the lowest. That was a 14-2 best season in history. And we lose because of just bonehead mistakes. And they have the audacity to go dance on our logo. Man, that was bad.
That's brutal. That's brutal. For me, God, there's so many favorites. I think for me, my favorite all time, it might not sound like a big deal, but for me, it just was because it was that jump off the couch, scream like just lose your mind that it happened. And that was the when the Chargers played the Kansas City Chiefs and we beat them. You know, we went for 2 and where it was that that make or break moment. Like if you don't get that 2-point conversion, you've lost. You go home. You're done. There's not like, well, we'll beat it in overtime. Like to go for it and to get the 2-point. And I mean, he was so wide open, and for him to catch it and just walk away with the win. I mean, that was the edge of your seat. That was so exciting. Like I could not.
That was amazing.
I couldn't believe that had happened. Like that was just like run around the block like 5 times being that excited because it was so nerve-wracking. It was so scary. And for me, I would say my worst Charger moment. I don't really want to think of a game. I mean, for me, it's losing Phillip Rivers. Like that for me as a Charger fan, that is my worst Charger moment, to know that there would be a season without Phillip Rivers, the guy that we all grew up with as the quarterback that we love to see, and that we it just is a blast to watch, to know that he was not going to be the quarterback anymore. For me, that's the worst, to see something like that happen. But we got Justin Herbert now, so
good thing on the grass was a little greener, right?
I got my little Justin Herbert Band-Aid on my arm. It feels a lot better. Thank you, Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Anchovies, for asking a great question in this offseason that doesn't involve free agencies or picks or anything like that. Okay, now we move over to Richard Ochoa, who asked the question.
Hey, guys. I've been thinking that possibly moving back in the draft might be a good idea considering our depth issues on the team. What teams do you think would be willing to trade up to our spot? And what's the latest pick you were willing to drop to?
Oh, no. After Kyle's rant just a moment ago, and I said, if the quarterbacks were taken, you could easily fall back and pick somebody up unavailable. I changed my mind. Kyle's very persuasive. I think we have draft capital right now. We have 9 picks. So getting more than that, like I don't see a real reason to need more than 9 picks in this draft. I think that's fine. Trading back just for the sole purpose of getting more players, I don't think it's really worth it. I think you stay at 13. I think that's where it just needs to be. Or you try and go up and get rid of one of our picks. That's the direction I'd rather go. If there's a surefire player a couple picks ahead of us.
Yeah. I think if for some reason tackles start going or Penei falls because of whatever quarterbacks go super early, or some team that you thought needed a tackle addressed it in free agency, and you can go up reasonably with getting rid of just one of our picks, that I could see. I could see us reaching and try to move up. I just don't know. Like at 13, what guy is there that somebody's going to be like, yeah, I need to go get him? With the mocks that we've seen, the big like the high tier quarterbacks are going in the top 5, like 3 of them. Justin Fields, all those guys are going to be gone by then. So I just don't know who's going to want to move up to get a guy at 13. But like we said, we never know with the draft.
Right.
I would prefer to stay at 13 or move up. Unless all the dominoes align and there's something that is just waiting. I don't know. I honestly, I don't see a scenario where moving back would be beneficial for us. Like you say, Kim, 9 picks that's huge.
It's healthy.
We have 2/3. Yeah. Like I just don't know. Like, I don't know why we would need more seconds, or I guess that would be good, but I just think you give up a lot moving back from 13. But even if you move to so say the perfect scenario hit, if we move back to 20, you could still get like an Elijah Verrett Tucker or a Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame. You could still get one of those guys down in that range. I just don't see us doing it. I think that Slater or that Darashaw is going to be there, and that's who's going to get picked.
I trust Telesco that if that happens, that he knows what he's doing and he has a plan, but as a fan and would want to see what should happen is, yes, utilize the 13th pick, get somebody good, because chances are that the talent is going to be there in that tackle position, which is we need it. Please, when is it enough? Thank you, Richard. Next, we move on to Get Some Sports, who asked the question: does the new cap floor to ceiling change the direction of the draft for Gangsta, TT, and Steady Staley? Do we see a BPA pick at 13?
When is enough enough?
When is enough enough? Get Some Sports.
I like the Steady Staley.
Oh, those are some great nicknames.
Yeah, those are both great nicknames. Yeah,
on fire, bro.
Best player available. That's what we do. So I'm not going to be surprised if somebody falls and we're like, holy crap, I did not see him being here.
We've already talked about it. Like, who could it be? Like,
we don't know. We never know. Like, no one saw Derwin James falling to us.
I know.
But he did.
Yeah.
And so we drafted him, and when we did, we were like, what the hell? Like, no one saw that. No, that wasn't on one mock draft. So like, if somebody falls, who it would be, I don't know. But if that player is that much better than whoever tackle that we wanted, maybe we pull a 2020 and double up in the first round and get one of those guys in the back of the first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
With this other question, does the new cap floor to ceiling change the direction of the draft for them? Like, there's something to be said for, some of these guys wanting to get on some quick contracts to wait until the next years where they can get paid more when the cap goes up. So it'll be up to Gangsta Tommy T if he's able to pull off, and that in combination with Steady Staley, which is a pretty dope nickname. If between those two guys in the relationship they've had, if they have guys that are wanting to go on some quick contracts before it explodes in the next couple of years and the more money's available, do they come to us? Will be interesting, and then that will affect everything.
Yeah, this year free agency is going to be wild. I don't even know what to expect. We've never seen
it's a wild
cap
west,
go down like this. Like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going to happen.
All these guys available, quarterbacks moving everywhere, premier rushers available. Like, what is happening?
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of talent flying around in a very small cap space pool that not a lot of people have the luxury of being able to spend any kind of money on. And so there's very well could be a lot of, 1 year prove it deals, little rentals just to see like, hey, if you can be a good fit, we'll pay when we get more money next year, whatever the situation might be. But it's going to be exciting when it does happen. But yes, best player available better be an offensive tackle at 13. So thank you, Get Some Sports. Appreciate it. Next, we've got Daniel Llewellyn, who always asks a funny one. He's got the funny questions. What are the odds we get a new catchy nickname for our secondary this season under new coaching? I mean, the Jack in the Box Kids was cool and all, but didn't really inspire fear in the hearts and minds of our opponents. How about you all go around giving your suggestions? Kay, love you, bye.
I'm not the creative one of the bunch.
You can be.
You
throw some creative ones out there every now and then.
Come on. Enough is enough, Adam.
I'm just saying. I'm shamelessly positive.
The Jack Boys thing, yeah. Like,
I have a Jack Boy shirt, so hopefully they start getting more interceptions because I already have that swag. So I don't know if they
you're not jacking much. Maybe like the robber men, robber adults, robber grown-ups. The thief.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do you got, Kev? Told you. I don't have nothing. But the boys thing does kind of, it's not very intimidating.
For sure.
The D-Dogs. Derwin James coming back.
That sounds like something Adam would be a part of.
Yeah, it's the Bulldogs, the D-Dogs.
Thirsty for the
thirsty D-Dogs.
The thirsty D-Dogs.
All right, Adam, what do you got? You got to save us here for Daniel. Daniel's probably got something super witty.
I know. I'm waiting for him. He probably has a answer just loaded.
He set us up.
Yeah, he's got loaded. I haven't thought about this, but I'm trying to think like I'm more about like either rhymes or alliterations, so I can think of like, the backfield brochachos or the
backfield brochachos.
The secondary stunners.
That's sure. There you go. See? secondary stunner, Stone Cold coming in.
Stone Cold secondary.
See?
Nah, this sucks.
We
Daniel, let us know what you got.
Yeah, Daniel,
These
I'm
are
sure
bad.
you've got some better ideas. I don't know why you asked us. Like, we can be creative on the
come
spot.
We're the 3-4 Mafia, dude. 3-4 Mafia. I thought that's what we were doing with
That's
Joey
not bad.
Bosa.
I can get behind that.
3-4 Mafia. But it's not the secondary, but it's like
the whole defense.
Yeah, it's the whole
We're
defense.
inclusive.
3-4.
It's 2021.
But it's kind of the Bills Mafia. I just don't have anything creative right now. I
You're right.
apologize.
Yeah,
Everyone
that's
listening.
copy.
I'm stealing
All right,
shit.
cut this out. Moving on to the next one.
All right. We'll come up with something. We'll tweet something later for sure. But thank you, Daniel. I'm always asking the great questions. Next, we've got JP, a.k.a. Jesse O, who asked the question.
Yes, well, if you guys could take literally any player in the NFL and put them in the Chargers uniform next year, who would it be and why? Pip, pip, cherry, all that good stuff, yes.
I have one that I think would be, it's like the idea of it's no way in ever going to happen,
sure.
but
Yeah.
Aaron Donald.
Nice.
If you could toss him on the Chargers, good
That
golly,
would
Miss
be
Molly.
pretty-
That defensive front would be nasty with Joey Bosa, Linval Joseph, Aaron Donald, whatever outside backers we add.
So I hate this team, and I can't. It's hard for me
Don't
to
say
disconnect this
Gronkowski.
idea.
Don't say
No,
Gronkowski.
it's going to be a Chiefs.
The
I already know
idea,
it.
the idea of Herbert throwing to Tyreek Hill would be insane.
Yeah, that would be pretty
Just
crazy.
his accurate bombs, like I don't know, that would be interesting. I kind of like the Donald, but that's the one that's like, oh wow, what could happen there? But I hate saying that because I don't like him.
I know. I would you know what? I'm gonna say the runner-up offensive rookie of the year and put Justin Jefferson on the wide
that would be
receiver.
fun.
That's
Good
pretty
answer.
dope.
That would
Good
be,
answer.
I think that would be pretty cool to
That'd
get
be
those
fun.
two offensive rookie battle guys on the same team. Obviously,
Yeah.
would never happen, but boy, just imagine.
That would be
It
crazy.
feels good. All right. Thank you, JP. Next, we move on to Super Bolts 34, a.k.a. Super Bolts 28, who asked the question.
What's up, guys? If you had a chance to meet a Chargers player, who would you want to meet and why? Great show per usual. Okay, love you, bye.
Who do you think, Kyle?
Phillip Rivers.
Phil.
I want to meet Phillip
Yeah,
Rivers.
if it's past or present, Phillip Rivers. I would love to just hang out with him and let him tell me stories about everything and all the games and just like his career. If you had to put me on the spot with present, honestly, just because I think he's funny and he's super active on social media and stuff, would be Linval Joseph. I don't know why I answered that, but I think the guy's
I think it's
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
He's like what he's doing with like his fans, and he's every time I look at my phone, it's like Linval Joseph is like on live or something. So I don't know. I think it would be cool. I think he would have a lot to say and give me some cool, unique perspective. He's a vet in the league. He's got a lot of stories. I think it'd be cool. Yeah. So Phillip Rivers, we're talking all time. Current, I don't know why, but Linval Joseph seems like a fun guy to hang out with.
I'd probably go Junior Seau. Like go to the beach, chill with him. I don't know. He just seemed like a really nice guy. By all accounts, everyone that met him, no one had a bad thing to say about him. And that's somebody that I couldn't run into ever, possibly. So I can get real stalkery and find Phillip Rivers, bother him, hassle him at a grocery store. But I couldn't do that to 55. So 55 would be my answer.
Phillip
for sure.
Rivers? I didn't know you shopped here.
When you come here. You have Uncrustables? I have Uncrustables.
I love Uncrustables. Will you sign my Uncrustables, please?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not gonna not get Phillip Rivers
No,
autograph.
of course not. But
Like Randy Johnson on the katana sword in Step Brothers. You're not gonna not get his autograph. Phillip Rivers on an Uncrustables package.
yeah, not even on a
that'd
package,
be
just
too
on
good.
a Uncrustable. Like I opened the Uncrustable and I had him sign it
On the bread. Good God.
All right, love it. Thank you, Super Bowl. It's always good to hear from you. Next, we've got Chimney Crickets. Love it. Who asked the question?
Sadly, I have zero confidence in the return of Henry after the latest press conference. If we are able to get Orlando Brown for less than our first-round pick, would you be okay using our pick for someone like Kyle Pitts?
Bootep, all the way from Florida. Yar.
So, I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier in the idea of drafting Pitts, and it's no slam to Pitts. Obviously, he's high up on the draft list for a reason, but we've seen it from Herbert as far as it, obviously tight ends do both blocking and receiving, right? So we know that Herbert can make basically any receiver look great. Now, obviously, if you have a higher caliber wide receiver, they're going to do better. But I mean, to me, we're looking at a tight end as a possible wide receiver. And I'm sure Pitts is great, but we don't need him. Like, we still have other tight ends that we can dip into, like Anderson, like Parham, that are still going to be here next year, as far as we know. As long as nothing weird happens, we know that they'll still be there. So, would Hunter Henry be the best choice out of all of those? Absolutely. I would rather have Hunter Henry.
Yes.
But does that mean that we need to make a reach for Pitts when we still have an offensive line that's like not even fully full right now? Like, no, we still got to go for a tackle in that 13th.
And then I think part of that question too is the Orlando Brown idea. Like, if you could get Orlando Brown for like a 2nd round pick, like, I'd be all for that.
Right.
You draft one stud tackle at 1, you get him at 2, like that. I just don't see the excitement in getting Orlando Brown for a 1st round 13th pick. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that.
It's not exciting, but we did talk about it last week. I think Kyle made a good argument for why you would trade Orlando Brown for a 1st round pick, but let's focus more on the dollar amount that we're going to be spending on these guys and for the longevity that we would have them. I think that's a better move, but time will tell. But thank you, Jiminy Crickets. Next, we've got Mark, just Mark, who asked the question.
Hey guys, what big free agency would you most want to see be signed this offseason? One offense, one defense. Yeah, all right.
That's tough, man. Like, if you want to, I go offense. Like, if we're playing this hypothetical, if we're picking someone, I would sign a tackle that has proven himself and is a Pro Bowl tackle. So, what is it? The Villanueva from the Steelers at left tackle would be my offensive pick, and then my defensive pick right now, if the legalities aside, I would say Von Miller if he's healthy, because I know he had a bad injury last year. So those would be my 2.
Everything considered, defensively, I would want John Johnson. It's not a huge flash name. I don't think he's going to cost a huge amount. I just think his plug and play ability and knowing what he's getting, being that he was a Ram playing first daily, I would want John Johnson on the defense. Offensively, yeah, I guess if you had to pick, I don't know if I would go tackle, because I think there are some great ones. I would prefer to get the best center available in free agency, because, again, you're not paying that premium dollar for a tackle. And I think that'd be Corey Linsley. So I think Corey Linsley on offense, getting a center that's top notch, and getting a John Johnson as a defensive back that can plug and play right away, knows the scheme, knows terminology. Man, I just think that that's like the most. Let's go. You get that starting center. You draft a tackle. We have Bulaga on the other side. One of that second or one of those 3rd round picks, you pick up a guard with Feeney on the other side. You have your starting guys, and then you can kind of build some depth later in the draft, or smaller name free agent guys that could add depth to your squad. I think you're in good shape.
I would say on offense, I'm going to say Trent Williams. I would like to see him coming over to us. Somebody who's been in the league, he's a veteran. Our team is so young in general, both for players and coaching staff. Getting a veteran player, I think
he'd be the oldest guy on the whole franchise.
He's just below the averages per Kevin's mathematician last week.
He's hella old.
I'd like to see Trent Williams, and on the defensive side, just for shits and giggles, I'll say Clowney. I'd like to see Clowney come in and be that opposite edge rusher next to
hot take.
Bosa.
Haven't heard his name drop much in association with the Chargers, so I like that.
I don't remember how he played last season. I don't feel like it was great, but it might have been.
He is solid. He was on the Seahawks. Yeah. Solid. It wasn't like otherworldly.
So there you go. Whatever. Take it as it is. Thank you, Mark.
Good take. Good take.
All right. Now let's move on over to the Reddit section, where you guys have no limit on the amount of characters you can use. All right. We start off with YNWA Dad 10. Great name. Who asked the question?
When Coach Staley was body training his boys, do you guys think he used exotic 2-high Eagle front Hawkeye Delta 9 packages to create one-on-one matchups for them with the potty?
I can't believe I got all that out in one breath. Wow, that was a long sentence.
I think he definitely did.
That was a sick dad joke. Yeah,
good dad joke.
YNWA dad 10 sick dad joke, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. As a football coach, I do think through the opportunity of putting my son on the line and making him run gassers for any time he does something bad. So it definitely carries over. Your coaching philosophies and your parenting, it's all wrapped into one.
We obviously heard that from Coach Smith's interview with the LA Football Podcast. So
I tell you what, if I made Paxton run some gassers, I think he would act up a little bit less. But CPS might get called a little bit more. You see my son just out running sprints every day.
Daddy, I need water. Not right now, son. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Next, we move on to Okie Doggy, who asked the question.
This offseason, we have been linked to many free agents from other teams like Juju Smith-Schuster, Leonard Floyd, J.J. Watt, John Johnson, Richard Sherman, and Von Miller. From these free agents or any other that have been linked to us, which 2 or 3 would you want the most for the team? Also, can you read this in an Irish accent? Thank you.
For on this list, I'll rapid fire. I'll give you 2. I'm going Von Miller and John Johnson. Those are my 2.
Those are good. So I'm assuming this is cap not considered because you can't sign 2 or 3 of these guys with the cap. So no cap considered if I could pick 3. I love the idea
Watt,
of Juju
Floyd.
Smith-Schuster because that would be really fun.
Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster, Leonard Floyd, John Johnson. Those are my 3.
Wait, so you take Floyd over Miller or Watt?
Yeah. Floyd played in the defense, played outside linebacker, had an awesome year last year. Isn't going to cost as much either. And I said cap not considering, but I still think I would go with Leonard Floyd. Huh. He doesn't have the Von Miller possibility of not playing a season. And J.J. Watt is... I don't know. I think he's going to go to
You were going to say old.
You
were going to say old, weren't you?
What? How did you know that?
I saw it in your eyes.
I was going to say old.
Your youth was exuding.
I tried
through
to be
the
kind
Zoom.
and say he's going to go to Green Bay or Pittsburgh.
I'm going to say, if I had to pick 3, I'm going to go Leonard Floyd, John Johnson, and I'm going to say Richard Sherman. I think he's undervalued in his position, and I think him getting along with Staley in that last interview they had with Chris Collinsworth was... I think there was a little bit of some matchmaking going on there,
some sparks,
I saw
fireworks,
some sparks flying, if you will. So I'd like to see that, especially.
What did I see birds suddenly appear when they were near?
Suddenly appear every time you are near.
And plus, that would be all defense and free agency, which means we can just spend that much more time in offense in the draft. So there you go. All right, thank you, Okie Doggy. Next, we've got Spirit Seeker PSP, who asked the question.
What's Coach's background? Pretty sure Coach's Corner is my favorite segment. Do we need a new punter? Bunny Badgers should have competition in camp, for sure. But I feel like I don't see a ton of people talking about Ty Long and his terrible hang time for punts. I don't know how much Coach knows about special teams, but if he's ever dealt with special teams, I'd love to hear his take. If possible, I'll take... Oh, he asked for Super Mario. God damn it.
You got to leave that. That's so good. That's so good. No, leave it. Leave it and do the next guy in Super Mario. That's too funny.
No, leave that in. That's so perfect.
God damn it.
All right. Super Mario, I'm not great at Super Mario. My voice is way too low to do the wahoo. That's about all I can do. Yahoo! Super Mario. That's about it. I can't do that whole thing. So there you go. There's your Super Mario, but I can't. I'm working on it. Thank you for, pushing me on my boundaries to try to be a better voice actor, but I couldn't do Super Mario. So you got Southern drawl accent. There you go. All right, Coach, what's your background?
Yeah, Coach, why are you loved by so many and all that jazz?
Yeah, Kevin's eyes were rolling so hard when Adam was reading that compliment of mine. But yeah, so I coached. All of my coaching experience is at the high school level. I coached for 10 years in high school. 3 of those were as a head coach. As a head coach, you're also in high school, you're also a coordinator. So I was 2 years as a defensive coordinator, 1 year as a head coach, or 1 year as an offensive coordinator while head coaching. Before I became a head coach, I was 6 years as a defensive coordinator, and I had 3 other years there kind of layered in as a position coach. All of them on the defensive side of the ball. So I was a linebacker, position coach, and then defensive coordinator, basically is the extent of my coaching career. But in high school, a lot of the times you coach a special teams. There's not always a special teams designated coach. So it kind of gets divvied up amongst the head coach usually takes one, and then one of the coordinators takes one. And then if you have an extra guy that has any background, they take one. So I did coach quite a bit of special teams. For me, it was always mitigating risk because at the high school level, you don't normally have great kickers. And I think that's a little bit of what happened to the Chargers is they had a decent field goal kicker that couldn't kick off. So they go, hey, this guy's a decent punter and he can kick off. Let's merge them together to make a decent kicking core. But now that Badgley's not around and you're going to have a kicker that can actually kick off, I do think that Ty Long is probably gone as well. His hang time was pretty poor. Returns were always pretty good on us. Field position was always an issue. I personally think it's going to be an overhaul at the kicking game. I could even see a kicker getting drafted by the Chargers late in the draft. That's how big of a need it is for us. But yeah, my specialty was never special teams, but that's just what I see as a fan and the limited knowledge that I have on special teams.
Question: did you ever go to like the soccer practice and recruit soccer players to come kick?
We did, for sure.
I feel like that's like a Disney movie or something, thing. Like the amazing kicking dog or something.
Yeah, that was definitely a real thing. And most of the time our kicker didn't come to practice. He showed up maybe on a Thursday and kicked a couple times, and then he was there on game days because he had soccer that he had to play at. That's what high school was. But yeah, that really does happen. Yep. Kickers don't show up to practice a lot of the time.
Maybe we go look at some soccer players. Hey,
Cristiano Ronaldo is our new place kicker.
Yeah, what a dude. Talking about getting butts in seats. Ronaldo is your place kicker? Get out of here.
All right. Next, we've got Zool420, who asked the question,
what do you think about the possibility of signing Von Miller?
Huggy likey.
Kevy
Huggy
likey.
want wingy.
Kevy want wingy.
Yeah, the possibility is exciting. What the details look like, no one knows. But the idea that he's going to be potentially a free agent and we need an outside pass rusher.
Above the law, running from the law. Von Miller, running from the law.
All right. Next, we've got Marijuana Myler, who asked the question.
Not sure if you've answered this before. Who is the all-time favorite Charger of the podcast? Thanks for the content, guys. You're doing good work each week.
Thanks, Mr. Miller.
It's Phillip Rivers.
It's a consensus Phillip Rivers.
It is
yeah,
Phil
Phillip
for sure.
Rivers.
I'd be lying to you if I said anyone
Low
else.
key might get a 17 tattooed on my body somewhere.
Ooh. Golf clap for Kyle.
Where? You'll never know.
You'll never know. Unless it's on his forehead, then he can't hide it.
Then you'll know.
Next, we've got Bolt Fan 43, who asked the question, and he has a request. I'll do my best. Who's your most hated Charger of all time, and why is it Marlon McCree?
Yeah, Marlon McCree.
And why? No, like specifically, why do we all hate Marlon McCree? That's the question.
Because he fumbled the pick that lost us the 2006 AFC divisional round.
That's
we were
why.
14-2, the best team we've ever had.
Yeah.
That's why Marlon frickin' McCurry. But there's some bad ones.
There are some bad ones.
Ryan Leaf is pretty
Ryan
poor.
Leaf is pretty
He was
high
a
up
pretty
there.
big bummer for the organization.
Yeah.
Kind of a setback.
Cromartie, for me, that Jets game you talked about, he pushed out real hard in a tackle he could have made that would have won us the game. There's some bad ones out there, but yeah, Marlon McCree has got to be near the top of anyone's list.
100%. All right. Next, we've got Interaction Upstairs, who asked the question, is Hunter Henry staying or leaving? If he is leaving, where do you think he's going?
I think he's going somewhere with a good quarterback.
That much we know.
That much we know.
Here's the thing. I think he will stay. I think we're going to sign him. I think it's just back and forth in the media. I think if he leaves, somebody up there hates me and he's going to leave because somebody up there hates me, and he's going to go to the team that I don't want him to go to, which is the New England Patriots. That's what's going to happen. Because if he leaves,
talk of him going
somebody's
to the Patriots.
pissed off at me, and then they're going to just dig in the dagger a little more and send him to the Patriots.
We hope he's staying, but if he leaves, we're all going to be sad.
Very sad. Next, we've got great Greg Grew, who asked the question, assuming King Mel is off to new pastures, what do the Chargers do to address that hole? Who would you all like to see in that position?
I keep saying Von Miller, all the legal things aside. But what do you say? Miller, Floyd, Watt?
Or you could get somebody in the draft in the second round that's solid. And I think that may be what we do.
That goes against us all drafting 3 rounds of linemen.
No, you could still go first or third.
Yeah.
With 2 third-round picks.
I would honestly like to see us bring Isaac Rochelle back. I feel like he played solid at that position whenever Mel was injured.
But he would be more of a defensive end, like quote unquote D tackle now. He's not going to be an outside edge rusher.
He wouldn't.
Like
that
outside
wouldn't be
linebacker
the same position.
Right. And we may still bring him back, but it would be different from Mel leaving and filling a gap of an edge rusher. And also because we're switching defenses. Mel, does he fit that? Yeah, he probably does fit the outside linebacker type. Like he's a pretty athletic guy that could drop out in space. But yeah, I think that now that we're moving, I don't think Isaac Rochelle fits in that outside linebacker spot. Gotcha. They may still bring him back, but to play inside more than outside.
Well, fair enough. I still like to see Isaac Rochelle come back.
But would you really
like
he seems like a backup to me. He doesn't seem like a guy that you want to be starting, really.
He's a depth guy, and that's what he's going to get paid.
I think the question is, who would you really want to see at that position? I don't want to see him at that position. I want him to see him backing up somebody at that position. Right. So that's my take. Sorry, Adam. I disagree.
No, I think it's just I thought he was serviceable in that position whenever Melvin was injured, and he had to step up and play in that position. In the same way that Feeney isn't necessarily a center. He was a guard, but he was serviceable in the center position, and we all still want Feeney back. So I think he's good as far as being a flexible player that can play that position as well as being just the edge rusher that fills in whenever Joey Bosa gets his 5th concussion. Please don't get another concussion, Joey Bosa. Please.
Don't say that.
Please. All right. And last but not least, the glorious end. Who asked the question?
Fitting.
Is the team better off focusing on defense in the draft while fixing the O-line with an aggressive free agency period?
I'd flip it. That's my thought.
Yeah,
flip that.
That's what we all kind of agree on. Wooly, you may disagree, but I think Kevin and I both talked about this last week, that we agree that right now you address the offensive line primarily in the draft, while you may get one guy or two guys. There's at least three spots you need to address. So you may get one in free agency, but you got to address at least one or two and depth in the draft. So I flip it. I think you pay the defensive guys in free agency and really go after the draft and the offense.
Why did you say I might disagree?
I don't know, because last week we both had hard takes and arguments about it, and you were trying to diffuse some tension between me and Kevin that wasn't really tension.
Well, that's just me trying to stop at you two. Like I can't I'm too far away. I can't move you two apart.
My point is, we didn't really hear your hard take, so you agree, right? Is this a consensus Charger chat?
Oh, 100%.
Offense in the draft.
I mean, is there offensive line talent that we could pick up in free agency that would help us out? 100%. And whether or not Telesco can negotiate to get one of those talented players to be a part of our line, time will tell. And I think if anybody's capable of doing it, it's him. However, I agree with you that I think that offensive line should be addressed in the draft, just from your argument of how much money that some of these great players can ask for, and to get those guys on rookie contracts and play for us for up to 4 years and potentially get us to a Super Bowl. I think that's the whole goal. So yeah, no, I'm totally with you on, let free agency be the defensive side of it, and let's address the offensive side in the draft. So, all right. I think we're all in agreement. God damn it. All right. Thank you everybody from Bolt Fam for asking your questions. All of them. Every single one of you. Thank you for making this episode what it is, because this is the only episode that'll ever be like that. Episode 69. Nice. All right. That's going to do it for us here at Charger Chat. Don't forget to bolt up, because we're ready for any squad, any place.
K, love you, bye.
K, love you, bye.
K, love you, bye. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Win is enough. When is enough enough?
Have you had enough? Are you good enough? When is enough enough? Call the law offices of Duggin and Duggin and get just enough for you.
Duggin and Duggin got me enough compensation for what I needed. And sure enough, that's all I ever wanted.
Enough is enough. Call the law offices of Duggin and Duggin, and they'll fight to get enough for you.